Hey, good morning, everybody. So today I'm going to do a live stream, and unlike last time, I'm actually holding true to my promise. I'm only doing it in my private free group, and I guess public free group. And I wanted to talk about a man's responsibility. And one of the more recent posts that I made was about about men and why they don't wear dresses. And I probably got more flack for that post than, I don't know, the vast majority of things that I posted. It was one of the ones, I think I hit a record of people that I had to block on that one too. And and this is a really important topic, and I think that most people don't get it. They don't fully understand just how much responsibility a man needs to have to maintain polarity and just how important that really is. So what a lot of people were saying on my post is that, like, oh, a real man, he could wear a dress, he's confident enough to wear a dress, he's confident enough to do anything. Yeah, but that's not the point. That's not the point at all. I could wear a dress. I could easily wear a dress. I could do anything and still be, quite comfortable with myself, right? But the thing is, I won't, because I don't want to do things that neutralize polarity or neutralize it or um, minimize it to any kind of degree. So it's the same thing with anything. It's like, why do I not, go up to my wife and like cry in front of her for all the time and talk about my feelings in front of her all the time? Is it because I'm not comfortable as a man doing that? No, I've done that a lot in the past, and I don't have any problem with doing that. As far as, do I feel like I'm not a man suddenly just because I have feelings and I express my feelings? No, it has nothing to do with that. It's my responsibility, my chosen responsibility, right? I chose this and I love choosing this, is to maintain polarity. My responsibility is to polarize myself as much as possible in my relationship and also just in society in general, because that is what maximizes value for everybody. So yeah, I could do a whole bunch of silly things, and Mark Benet, he did a great post about this, about, being Peter Pan, basically, right? So these are men who haven't grown up. They haven't fully felt that sense of responsibility in themselves for being a man. And that sense of responsibility, right? When I say that masculine men don't wear dresses, it's not because of some fragile like a identity of masculinity that they're trying to maintain because they're fragile, and no, it's not like that at all, right? Like, I'm fine with wearing dresses as a man. As far as my like sense of self goes, right? It's like, I don't care if people judge me. I don't give a shit about that. It's not about that. It's about, am I being irresponsible and neutralizing polarity, or am I doing everything I can to maximize it in my life? And that's my main focus, and I feel responsible for that because it's a responsibility that I've chosen, right? And so this goes with anything, like even something as simple as being really expressive and sending, like my wife, for example, like sending my wife a lot of emojis, right? As a man, I could do that because I'm extremely comfortable with my feminine side. It's like, my feminine side is incredibly well developed. And so it goes with being emotional, it goes with wearing a dress. Like, I can express all of that stuff and I'm very comfortable with it. And I can feel quite authentic doing it too, because it is a it is a part of me. It's a huge part of me. It's just that I willingly choose, not out of fear, but out of responsibility, not to, um, operate through that, not operate through a more, with more feminine energy. I just choose not to do it. And it's the same thing on my wall too, right? Like there's so many things I could, um, I could express that I just choose not to, because I have chosen to be responsible, in a certain way, and I'm going to hold myself to that. And one thing that a lot of men don't understand, and women too, right? Because they're not men, but a lot of men don't understand either, because they don't have that sense of responsibility. It's like, well, like you don't allow yourself to even have fun and just like let loose and wear dresses and stuff like that. Well, listen, when you fully, experience that sense of responsibility as a choice, the responsibility itself is the most fun thing that you could ever do. I have so much fun being responsible for being as masculine as I can be and continuing to be more masculine every single day. That is what is fun for me. I could have fun wearing dresses too. Sure, because that's another side of me. Of course I could. I can have fun doing just about anything. But the most fun and like fulfilling, and what brings me the most joy and meaning in my life is that sense of responsibility for keeping things really polarized, and especially in my relationship. I take that extremely seriously. I take that as a job, but not a job where it's like, oh, like I have to go to work again today. I hate working. No, it's like I wake up and I'm like, I can't wait to, continue to be a man and just keep things polarized and become more of a man, and increase my level of responsibility for everything. So that's why I made a post about, what was it? It was about authenticity, authenticity, and how authenticity is an excuse to not polarize, right? Because I could feel completely comfortable. I used to be a lot more comfortable. I wouldn't say like being in my feminine, but more androgynous, right? I felt extremely comfortable, and I felt extremely authentic. It's like sharing all my feelings, and um, uh, just being like more emotive and just expressive, right? And uncentered emotionally, right? And just like ridiculously silly, and just not taking anything seriously at all, that kind of stuff, right? Just like totally free, just free. Like I'd make a really great woman if I had to. And that's one of the reasons that I really love teaching it, because I've felt I felt that to a large degree, what it feels like, and it can feel really great. um but if I stayed there, it's just like, oh, I know, like it feels more authentic just to do this, right? And just to be totally free, then I'm never going to grow as a man. And I want men to grow as men, because otherwise we're never going to have a properly polarized society and polarized relationships. And men cannot grow as men until they find that sense of responsibility, right? and for me, a lot of my story now, if you've read my book, and I've talked about it as well, like my sense of responsibility came with the birth of my son, right? Because he was born with a lot of very serious issues, stuck in a hospital for a long time. And I never really felt that sense of responsibility for anyone except myself. So that's what awoke it for me. And then I very quickly switched into polarity as well, learning about polarity, and then feeling a sense of responsibility for that once I understood how I was affecting my wife by not being responsible for polarity. And then not just my wife either, but women in general, right? Like, I'm responsible. I feel a sense of responsibility for all of the women on my wall, right? So that's a responsibility I've chosen. I've chosen that, and I love that responsibility. I love that responsibility to keep myself polarized. So that women feel more comfortable and feeling more into their feminine, and feeling like they have a space to open up, because I'm going to hold that container for them. I'm going to remain as masculine as I can so that they can feel safer to feel into their feminine, right? Like, I feel responsible for that, and I love that responsibility. Just like I love that responsibility with my wife, just like I love that responsibility with my son. When a man feels that responsibility, that's when he feels the most alive. But it has to be a sense of responsibility that he chooses for himself. It's not a responsibility where it's like a man comes onto my wall and he's like, oh, like I guess I need to act like a man, and then they start like doing all of these behaviors, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can't do emojis anymore, right? Because I need to get I need people to see me as a man, whatever. Like, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, then you're not truly embodying it, and you're just becoming a good actor. You're actually becoming less authentic, right? And that's the danger of learning the stuff that I teach. All the stuff that I teach, you know, if you do it for the wrong reasons, where it's like, oh, this is like, I'm just supposed to be this way, right? Like, then it's just one more rule that you've added on to yourself about, like, this is what other people expect of me. This is what Zach expects of me. This is what women expect of me, blah, blah, blah. And you're becoming less authentic. That's not responsible. You might believe in some way that that's what responsibility is, but that's not responsible. That's very irresponsible. This is something that men have to choose for themselves. It has to be truly from their choice, not to get any kind of approval, not for anybody else's expectations. It's for your expectation for yourself. You know, and it's a really good place. Men are coming from a really good place when they can, like, they're comfortable enough doing things like sharing their feelings and wearing dresses and all that stuff, but they choose not to, right? So it's not coming from a place of fear. It's not coming from a place of like, oh, I don't want people to disapprove of me or reject me or anything like that. It's coming from the right place where it's chosen. And this is what we're going to be talking. I'm doing a whole hour, probably an hour and 15-minute video on this in my private group. So if this is a topic that interests you, and this is important for men, it's really important for men, actually. Like, this is going to be one of our most important videos, I think, but it's also quite important for women to really understand what a man is supposed to be doing, and also how they can help them do that without trying to help them, right? Without trying to get an outcome. And so if this is a topic that you're interested in, now would be a really perfect time to join our group, because now we have a lifetime membership option. So $399, and you get not only this hour video, but also something like 60 other hours of video. We go so far in depth with it. And if men don't understand how to do this, it's like, you're not going to be able to maintain polarity if you don't have that sense of responsibility. And I've actually had to block a bunch of emasculated males over this on my wall, because they just didn't see it, and they're just making up their own definitions of what masculinity is. Masculinity is whatever you want it to be. No, it's not. It is not whatever you want it to be. It is something very specific, and it's something that a man chooses to embody for himself first. Yeah, so if you're interested in my private group, go to relationshipofyourdreams.com, and I talk a lot about that on the homepage, a long description about what's included. So it's, the free group is great. It's a really good introduction to the stuff that I talk about, and I will do videos like this. But if you want something that is far beyond probably anything that you've ever experienced as far as content and really understanding this stuff, it is such a great investment for such a low price, $399, and then you're there for life, and then you're there to learn from other members as well, who have been integrating this stuff and learning from this amazing content. So I really recommend it. That's relationshipyourdreams.com. And I think that's pretty much it. I think this is a good intro of what I'm trying to get at. And when I talk about being responsible as a man, there's a lot to it, and it's a lot more than just feeling authentic, because you can feel authentic and still be acting like a little boy. Being a man, being masculine, is much more than that. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be doing another video soon.